Welcome one, welcome all to the Nuts and Bolts halftime show. It is Monday, October 19th, 2020. I am your host, Monty Perez, a.k.a. The Sports Whisperer. You can follow me on all sorts of social media. On Twitter, it's MontyJP231, Facebook, Monty Perez, and on Instagram, Monty Perez2. Let's bring in my co-host, Joe Cardozo. Joe, how are you this evening?
Doing good, Monty. Good to be with you, man.
Listen, I could get used to these double headers, right? I mean, 5 o'clock and 8 o'clock, that is some fun football on a Monday.
Wasn't it just you and I that was talking a couple of days ago, maybe like a week ago, about these late night starts and how it's kicking our asses?
Listen, late night starts aren't fun for anyone. If you're on the West Coast, I used to love living out on the West Coast. I would go to the bar at 10 o'clock because that's a 1 o'clock start, get my brunch, stay there for the first game, the 10 o'clock game, the 1 o'clock game, go home, rest up, and then I watch a 4 o'clock game, and then at 8:15 I can watch Netflix. When you live on the East Coast, brutal. You really can't do that.
Yeah, not at all, man. It's brutal. It tests your fandom.
All right, Joe, let's get right to it. The first game, look, this was the story of Clyde Edwards-Helaire. The rookie out of LSU had 26 carries for 161 yards. Travis Kelce comes up big again with 2 TDs. Joe, I'm going to start with this before we talk about the game. I know people love George Kittle. For my money, there's no better tight end than Travis Kelce. Do you agree or disagree?
No, I agree, and I have facts to back it up.
You're talking about the old bingo card we used on the Full Monty Sports Show when Absolutely. I said something to Joe one time, and Joe said, I don't have facts to back it up, but you are wrong, Monty.
I still stand by that statement, by the way, and I'm still researching those facts. Now, Kelce is just a beast, man. I mean, you saw today exemplify why he's the best tight end in the NFL. And the thing I took away from this game, yes, the Chiefs won, but, man, I just kept imagining how good they're going to be when they get Le'Veon Bell fully incorporated in this offense. And some people on Twitter were saying, do they need Le'Veon? Probably not, but why wouldn't you want him if he's out there? So I think this is going to make the offense that much more dynamic. So many good plays from Patrick Mahomes. I mean, this team just shows me they're primed for a repeat. They're not going to go out without a fight for sure.
You know, it's funny because Clyde Edwards-Helaire was a workhorse for LSU last year. He's been the workhorse here, but we've seen rookies, especially running backs, wear down the second half of the season. Now you have Le'Veon Bell, who, let's face it, he was not motivated with the Jets, and why should he be with Adam Gase, who pretty much, a reporter said that the more talent and money you have, the less Gase likes you, which it should be the opposite, but that's a whole other issue with the Jets. But Le'Veon Bell is going to be huge. The big thing here is, look, Josh Allen, we've talked about him on my show. I know you've talked about it on Nuts and Bolts Sports. Josh Allen in college was completing 56% of his passes in a terrible school and conference in Wyoming. This year, he was completing close to 69%. He's improved, but this is terrible here. I know it was windy. I know it was rainy, but 14 for 27, 122 yards. The Bills had 206 total yards on offense. The Chiefs had 466. Here's the problem with the Bills. They're going to struggle against Miami. They're going to struggle against the Patriots because they are allowing 50% on third down of the opposing offenses to convert 50% of the time. This game, the Chiefs converted 9 out of 14 times. Joe, are we jumping off the Bills bandwagon here?
Well, geez, we just lost all the Wyoming fan base with that comment you just made there, Monty. So, sorry, Wyoming. No, I think that Josh Allen, I mean, it was talked about a lot during the broadcast that the accuracy was an issue of his, which seems to be improving. He still needs there's still more steps for this guy to take. I mean, he's a young quarterback, just got a taste of playoff action last year. I'm not jumping off the bandwagon at all. I think this team's only going to improve. I think they'll go as far as Josh Allen can take them. If there's one thing about their offense that needs to improve, they've got to get a better running game. It can't just be Josh Allen as your leading rusher. They got to get their running backs involved, find a dependable running back that can get them that 5 yards per carry. They're going to go as far as he takes them, and you got to hope that the improvement you've seen from him from last season to this season just continues as they go on, because they're going to make the playoffs. Now, I agree with you. They will struggle against a very tough Miami Dolphins defense. We make jokes about Ryan Fitzpatrick and Fitzmagic and how he fades away, but Brian Flores has those guys playing at an elite level, or at least a better level than what we've seen the Dolphins play in the past. But for the Bills, it starts and ends with Josh Allen, and it also starts and ends with that running game.
Yeah, listen, it's a very precarious situation for Miami because you saw when Tua came in yesterday for a few plays, the few fans that were there because of obviously COVID-19, they gave him a standing ovation. They love Tua. They want him to start. Ryan Fitzpatrick, to his credit, was cheering him on. He knows he's just staying there until. So the more Miami Dolphins win, the less we're going to see of Tua.
Correct.
So I mean, listen. I think the Bills are in trouble here. I think their running game teams are starting to realize how to stop this team. And until if I'm them, I would go after someone like the backup running back for Green Bay, maybe Williams. Maybe get a running back. I mean, I know they couldn't get Le'Veon Bell because it was ultimately his choice where he wanted to go. And let's face it, you're going to go to Kansas City or Buffalo, you're going to go to Kansas City.
Yeah.
But the Bills need a running back. Their guys aren't getting the job done. And that, again, 206 total yards. And let's face it, Kansas City's not a great elite defensive team.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. Kansas City's defense has gotten better, but I wouldn't consider that defense to be elite at all. And you're right. I mean, you've seen it before. You got to be a special kind of athlete to be a quarterback, lead your team in rushing, stay healthy. I mean, the person that comes to mind, you think about the MVP season we got from Cam Newton, but then look at the wear and tear that you got on Cam Newton after that season. So you have to figure out the running back position. And it's kind of hard, obviously, we're 5-6 weeks into the season. Where are you going to find a running back? But, I mean, this is something that the Buffalo Bills should have taken care of in the offseason. Now you're in the situation that you're in. You got to try to figure out a way to make it better because you can't just keep on relying on your quarterback to be your leading rusher the whole season.
Yeah, Joe. Listen, the Chiefs are playing great football. You know, they're 5-1. They listen. You lost to the Raiders, the Las Vegas Raiders. You come back, you win a tough game on the road. Chiefs are going to be fine getting Le'Veon Bell. So I think the Chiefs will still win about 13 games. All right, let's move to this game, Joe. Look. Kyler Murray started off a little rusty. I was surprised at how, he's very accurate. He was throwing high. He was throwing to the side. They got him running a little bit. They got a huge deep ball. But here's where I'm going to go off on the Dallas Cowboys, okay? Here's what I'm going to go. And I'm sorry for Greg and all those Dallas Cowboy fans. I understand you got to feed Ezekiel Elliott. I understand that Ezekiel Elliott is the horse, and you got to give him the ball. But how about what happened to Amari Cooper, Joe? He had 2 catches against a terrible Giants team. He has no catches this week. CeeDee Lamb doesn't have a catch. What the hell is going on? Andy Dalton right now, let me ask you this question, then I'll have you comment. I would take Andy Dalton with this Dallas Cowboy team over Baker Mayfield right now because Baker Mayfield proves that when you play an elite defense, he can't get it done. How are they not throwing what has happened to Amari Cooper?
Man, a lot of Cowboy fans, I think, threw in the towel when you saw that horrific injury to Dak Prescott, and they thought this season was a wash. I didn't.
Joe, the division's terrible.
Yeah, that's why
you win 7 games, you're in.
That's why I didn't think it was over for these guys. And Andy Dalton's no scrub. I mean, think about those teams he had with Chad Johnson, T.J. Hushmanzada, when they had Corey Dillon. The Bengals weren't horrible. They were a decent team that made the playoffs a couple times, but the rest of this team, it's the offensive coordinator, man. It's the play calling. I don't know what's going on there because you're right. You just named 3 great receivers that me as a Washington football fan would love to have any of those 3 Cowboy receivers on our team. And these guys are not even getting the ball thrown their way at all. Yes, Ezekiel Elliott has a big contract, but clearly something's going on with this guy. 2 fumbles. One, you really can't blame on him, the first one, but the second one clearly is on him. If that's not working, then throw the ball. Yes, you have some parts that are missing on that offensive line for the Cowboys, but it's still a good O-line. Give Andy Dalton the ball, toss it around the yard a little bit, and see what he can do. This 3 yards in a cloud of dust is not going to work.
Joe, how about I got to start questioning Mike McCarthy here. He leaves the Packers, they go 13-3. The Packers got destroyed yesterday in Tampa Bay, but they're 4-1, and going into that game, they had the number 1 offense in the NFL. Mike McCarthy, how about throwing a screen to CeeDee Lamb? How about throwing a little wide receiver screen to Amari Cooper? You're not using your guys. Like, it's almost as if Amari Cooper in the last 2 weeks has packed it in.
Yeah, no, you're right. It's on. I mean, I was skeptical of the McCarthy hire in the first place because my thing was you were let go from Green Bay for a reason. I know there's a lot of people when he got hired from Dallas, he had a Super Bowl title. This guy's an offensive genius. I personally wasn't buying it at all. I think that they could have done better as far as finding a better coach. How about an Eric Bieniemy? Hello, would have been a better pickup than him. But it is what it is. They have him now as their head coach. But yeah, you're right. He's not using his weapons at all. We'll have to see in the second half what adjustments are made. If they come out in the second half still doing draws, still doing sweeps, come on, man.
Now, listen, I understand, but listen, you got Andy Dalton in for a reason, right? You got him as your backup for a reason. And whatever you want to say about him in a tough division, okay, where the Ravens are usually good, where the Steelers are usually good, he went to 5 playoff games. So the guy can put up numbers. And let's face it, he had A.J. Green. That was pretty much it. You're telling me this trio of wide receivers is not better than what he had in Cincinnati?
Nah, you're right. If I'm a Cowboys fan right now, I'm going off. I'm sure if we were live streaming some of their houses, I'm sure there's a lot of four-letter words being thrown around because you're not using your weapons at all. It's craziness.
No, it's really frustrating. Now, I want to talk before we have about 5 minutes left. I want to talk about Kyler Murray. It seems like a perfect match between Kyler Murray and Cliff Kingsbury. You saw him struggle early, but first of all, he throws one of the most beautiful spirals I've ever seen. I mean, he has so much touch and accuracy. That's why I was shocked that he came out looking so bad. My friend Andrea texted me, and I was like, watch, he's going to start taking over. Then he throws the bomb to Kirk. Listen, he doesn't get hit. He's almost like Russell Wilson, but a little bit faster. What do you like about him? And do you see any weaknesses in his game other than his lack of size?
I was going to say the lack of size might be the only thing I see as a weakness in this game, and lack of experience as far as NFL elite talent and playing the NFL season, which will get more experience as the season goes on. I love the kid. I think he has jet packs on his feet. He's really quick out the pocket. Some of the moves he's making. I mean, this guy did an Allen Iverson-like crossover at a football field, left the linebacker grabbing an air. I think he's only going to get better. And like you said, I'm with you. Between him and Josh Allen, there's some guys in the NFL right now that throw some beautiful deep balls that can just chuck it all over the field. I'm a big Kyler Murray fan, and I think that just like Drew Brees, that whole height thing is overrated. You make adjustments as an offensive coordinator to get the guy in the right positions. He knows throwing lanes. You don't go from high school to Oklahoma to Heisman Trophy winner to #1 draft pick and not know how to execute in the football field. So I think people that say his height is a disservice to him, it's going to be something that's going to hurt him. You don't really know the game of football that well at all, because adjustments can be made for him to still be successful.
Yeah, and what I love about him, Joe, is almost like, and I say Russell Wilson, because they were both baseball players. They know how to slide. So they don't get hit. They slide. I see Aaron Rodgers fall forward. You see Tom Brady. Tom Brady's not as athletic as Aaron Rodgers. But, I mean, for a small guy, he never gets hit, Joe.
Nope, not at all. Patrick Mahomes, even too, the baseball background, you see it. They know when to call it quits and let the play just be dead and not try to go for those extra yards and them getting hurt. They're smart football players. And I think that having DeAndre Hopkins might have a big thing to do with his development as well.
Yeah, I'm shocked that they really haven't targeted him that much. But, they're up 21-3. Joe, give us a couple of keys to the game in the second half. What do you do if you're Dallas? What do you do if you're Arizona? And how do you see the outcome here? Does Dallas make a run?
If I'm Dallas, we need to stop running the ball. We need to use the weapons we have, which are our 3 elite wide receivers. Get them the ball, get them involved. If I'm Arizona, it's going to be my new phrase. I'm sure not the only person that's going to have this phrase, but don't pull Atlanta. Don't be an Atlanta sports team. Don't let your foot off the gas. Keep on scoring. Keep on putting points on the board until the final whistle goes off. Don't let up. I mean, you saw what happened. And Dallas, yes, they don't have Dak Prescott, but we've been talking about the elite receivers Dallas has. If they use those guys and create plays, they can put points on the board. So you can't give up.
Yeah, listen, Arizona's defense is not elite in any way. I'd come out and I would kind of use Ezekiel as a decoy, maybe play action now that the linebackers are cheating up. But I think I thought this was going to be a high-scoring game. I thought Dallas would put up a couple more points. But I'm going to go 41-20 here. I think Arizona just steamrolls them in the second half.
No, I can see that. I don't think that's far-fetched at all, man.
All right, Joe, I'm doing my show tomorrow. It is Week 6 recap with Rico Show Me the Money Graziano, 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Tell us what's coming up with Nuts and Bolts Sports, how we can follow Nuts and Bolts Sports. The floor is yours.
All right. Well, you can follow Nuts and Bolts Sports on all social media platforms at Nuts and Bolts SP. Of course, you can find the website, nutsandboltsports.com. What's coming up? A lot. We are live streaming like 6 days a week now. We have No Huddle Necessary coming up this week with a special guest host. We'll have an announcement for that coming really soon, which is kind of our version of Around the Horn, NFL style. What else is coming down the pipe, man? We do NBA live streaming 3 days a week. And we might have a couple new shows coming out before the end of the year. Just keep it locked, man. We're always up to something. There's no days off with us.
Merch, Joe. Merchandise.
That as well, too. Hey, see, I forgot something. There's so much going on.
All right, Joe. Always a pleasure to come on and talk halftime. We'll get you down the road for the Full Monty Sports Show on Sunday. Enjoy the second half.
Absolutely. Do the same, man. Cheers, Monty.
Take care, Joe. That was Joe Cardozo, the founder of Nuts and Bolts Sports. I want to thank you all for tuning in for this quick 15, 20-minute show. The game has started back on, so enjoy the second half. And remember, tomorrow, 9 p.m. Eastern, me and Rico Show Me the Money Graziano have a 1-hour show where we recap Week 6 in the NFL. So thanks so much for tuning in. Enjoy the second half. And we will see you tomorrow night at 9 p.m. Eastern Time.